I'm just going to show with you today DADGAD, which is played on any 6-string guitar. Basically, DADGAD means the tuning of the 6 strings. So we'll start off with D, A, D, G, A, and D. DADGAD is very useful for playing a lot of different songs and different chord structures, but I like it because you can play a lot of different chords with an open sound. So for example, I can play the chord D, and I can also play the next chord G, and A, and D. And because it's basically tuned a lot deeper, it gives it a lot more fuller sound if you're playing solo or by yourself. With DADGAD, there are a lot of different variations in chords, and also it's a lot simpler to play the chords as well. I find personally a lot simpler to play the chords, and therefore you're a lot freer to do other things within your own playing. So for example, I can play a chord, or I can play a chord structure, but also play like a melodical tune over the top. And also sounds like there are more people than one playing. So that's DADGAD. For the first few chords that you have in the DADGAD structure, we'll start off with D, then E minor, which is the second of the Ionian scale in D. So D is basically played with your first finger on the 2nd fret on the string G, and that's it for D. The next chord is E minor, as I said, and that's played with your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the top string, which is now D, and your 3rd finger, your ring finger, on the string G of the 2nd fret, E minor. Just also note, with my middle finger, I'm actually muting or stopping the A string, which is the 2nd string from playing, and otherwise it would sound. And if I close it off, it still keeps the D resonance. Then the next chord up from that is F sharp minor, and basically I'll play it with my ring finger on the 4th fret of the now D string, and 1st finger still on that G, and then on the 2nd fret. So remember, I'm muting that A string with my 3rd finger. So essentially the first three chords of this. And then up to our next chord, which is the 4th chord in this structure. So it's actually called G, and I use my middle finger on the 5th fret, and my 1st finger again on the G. I don't know if you can see that real well. On the G on the 4th fret, and again I'm muting that string there, the 2nd string, A string, with my middle finger, while letting the other strings play. So if I just play these first 4 chord structures for you, it sounds like this. And if you want to be really tricky, you can also add your little finger, your pinky, can't do it, your pinky on the same fret as your root note, because remember, this is DADGAD, so it starts with D, ends with D. So for example, if I'm playing F sharp on the 4th fret of the D, F sharp will also be on the 4th fret, because that bottom string, or top string as some people call it, is also F sharp. So top, bottom are the same note. So I can play those chords again, adding my pinky. Okay, and then the next chord after that is the 5th chord, which is called our turnaround chord. It's A. So again, same chord structure as G, but this time up 2 frets, starting on the 7th with our middle finger on the D, and our first finger on the G of the 6th fret. And this time you can also use your 3rd finger or your pinky, whichever one you can reach easier. I find that the 3rd finger is good. So that's, you can make up whatever you like, finger plucking styles and all that. After that, we have our next chord, which is also a minor, and we started on the let's see, 9th fret, third finger, ring finger, first finger on the 7th fret of the G as well. So those are, you're noticing a pattern here. The 2 main strings that I'm actually playing are the D and the G. Those are the only 2 strings that I play in each chord. So it's really, they're really only 2 strings I'm playing, or 3 if you add your pinky. Okay, so that's our next chord, and then after that, before the resolve, we go up to the fret before our D again, which is the octave up. Alright, so the 11th fret, 3rd finger, ring finger, and your first finger there on the G again, and back to D, which is actually where we started. Okay, so I'll just play it again from the start. Hope that's been helpful. Send me a comment, ask me a question. I don't know everything, but I hope it helps. Thanks.